Hey y'all, and welcome back to another episode of the Paranormal Journals right here on Black Mass Paranormal. So I received a crazy email that validates kind of something that happened to me in the Chuck Swan National Forest. Now, for those of you all who know, the Chuck Swan National Forest is a pretty amazing place. There are graves there that are from the Revolutionary War. The hunting that is available in Chuck Swan is unreal. There has been tons of Bigfoot sightings, all sorts of paranormal happenings that occur there. Now, Josh, and I went out to Chuck Swan one night to do an overnight investigation in the cemetery that is actually out there. We captured some amazing things, but something happened that night that still kind of baffles my mind. I don't know what it was, but anyway, I'll get to that. But now my subscriber Keith recently sent me an email talking about an encounter that he had while he was out deer hunting in Chuck Swan National Forest. He said that they had initially gotten up super early. They go out just before sunrise to get all set up in the area that they plan on hunting. Now, Keith said that he had, at this point, had been sitting in his tree stand for about an hour. And that's when he started to notice a strange sound coming from the tree line. Now, Keith said that he wasn't exactly sure what was happening, but he started to hear this kind of strange, like squeaking, kind of echoing sound coming out of the trees, is what he described it as. So he reaches down into his bag where he keeps some night vision type binoculars. He said that they don't actually record anything, but when you're using them for hunting, all you need to do is see. He started scanning the tree line when about 100 yards away, he picks up some sort of odd looking shape in a tree. He said that it was about the size of a man, but he said he thought that it looked like it had some sort of blanket or something over it, because he said he didn't see any arm, that all he could see was just kind of this humanoid sort of shaped figure that was almost in the fetal position sitting in this tree. So Keith is confused as hell because he doesn't understand why somebody would just be sitting on a tree branch, because they have deer stands. Now, at first Keith thought just, well, maybe somebody didn't own a tree stand, and that's just kind of how they hunt, that they climb up these trees and they just shoot whatever comes along. But then Keith realized that the object that he was looking at didn't have a rifle. It didn't have anything. It was just sitting there. So Keith, at this point, is totally fascinated with this humanoid looking figure that looks like it's wrapped in a blanket sitting in a tree. He said he watches this thing for several minutes, and then all of a sudden he sees this thing turn and open up. What he thought was a blanket wrapping this person was actually wings. That when this thing opened its wings, that it stood up. And he said that it was like close to probably 7-8 foot tall. He said it was huge. He didn't really understand how this thing was able to stay in the tree until he looked down. He said that the feet were almost kind of like talons, that they were shaped like a freaking eagle. Now, this to me blows my mind, because when John and Josh and I went and we stayed overnight in Chuck Swan National Forest at like probably about the same time, about 5 o'clock in the morning, something massive landed on my truck. At this point, we were all asleep. I was actually sleeping in my truck, and John and Josh were in hammocks. When this thing landed on my truck, John said that he was so afraid that he would not take his eyes out of his sleeping bag because he just didn't want to see this thing. Now, for 3 paranormal investigators to be out in the woods and hear something that big, that we're all just kind of terrified to look. But whatever this thing landed on my truck, and I drive a 2001 Dodge Ram 1500. I've got a headache bar that holds a light bar. And this thing hit the back of my truck, and it shook my truck. Now, Keith said that this thing just jumped out of the tree and just took off. He said it literally flew away. Now, there's been a lot of sightings actually that have happened in Chuck Swan. Now, my brother, who runs Knoxville Fishing Guide, he has seen some sort of massive bird-looking creature there as well. But my question is, recently there has been an increase of Mothman sightings outside of Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Now, there has been Mothman has been caught on camera outside of Chicago, jumping from building to building. Like this, the footage that is out there of this creature, I mean, it looks like almost like a dragon. I'm wondering if Mothman has left Point Pleasant, West Virginia, and is inhabiting the forests of Chuck Swan. Because whatever happened to me that night, like, we have 3 witnesses. I mean, we were all like asleep at the time, so we didn't have any cameras rolling. We didn't have a reason to. But I know something massive landed on my truck. And now there are several reports of different winged creatures flying around Chuck Swan National Forest. That same night when John and Josh and I were there, we captured something moving high up in the trees in Chuck Swan. Now, there's not many cryptids out there that fit the description of a Mothman. For example, people don't mistake Bigfoot for the Mothman. They don't mistake the Dogman for Mothman. Mothman is a very unique creature that I captured, one of the most unique EVPs that I have ever captured, in the domes of Point Pleasant, West Virginia. So, all my guy hunting friends out there, have you all had any type of experience in Chuck Swan with some sort of winged creature? Now, John has recorded what sounds like wings at one point in Chuck Swan. My brother, Knoxville Fishing Guide, he has seen a large winged creature flying around there on multiple occasions. Now that we have Keith, that was less than 100 yards away, that sees some sort of massive winged creature climb out of the forest and jump off. Now, I thought this encounter was too good not to share with you all. I wanted to reach out to everybody to see if you all had anything crazy happen in Chuck Swan. So with that being said, thank you all so much for the amazing support. Like I said, I'm going to be back to cranking out videos. So if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Give this video a like and turn on all notifications. It's this little drop down thing where you turn the bell on. That way you know that I'm either on here running my mouth about something crazy or I'm out doing something crazy. I want to give a big shout out to my members as well. Thank you all so much for your support. I've got a bunch of stuff I'm going to be uploading onto my member site as well. So until next time.